I just spilled coffee on my shirt and my work day just started. I haven't even walked in yet. But I'm not going to let that irritate me today. Good morning, y'all. I got a message. So today is September 3rd of 2024, right? Oh, they're really stuck it on my face. Okay, anyways. So the morning of September 3rd in 2021, I called my mother. I FaceTime called my mother and my life changed. My children's father was abusive. He had been abusive for years. He had actually broke my jaw 2 years prior. So my mom knew he was abusive, but she was under the assumption that he was no longer abusing me because that's what I told her. I never confirmed or denied that he was the one who broke my jaw. I told her that I slammed my face in the car door, but she knew that wasn't true. But I had 4 kids. I had a 3-year-old from my ex-husband that my current boyfriend was helping me raise ever since she was 6 months old. I had a 2-year-old that was his daughter, a 1-year-old that was his son, and a 2-month-old that was his daughter. That whole week, he kept finding reasons to stomp me, knocking me down and stomping me to the point that I was on the ground screaming, begging him to stop. My body was bruised up. My body was hurting. I had bruises all up and down my arms. I had bruises right here. I had bruises on my stomach. I had bruises on my legs because he was stomping me with shoes on. But on September 3rd, he told me he was going to continue to do this to me every single day until I bought him a car and put my name on a lease for him. And I'm like, I'm not putting my name on a lease for you. I'm already in a lease. And I'm not buying you a car because I already gave you a car before and all you did was sell it. So I'm not doing that. I wanted him to leave me alone, but I didn't know how to get him to leave me alone because no matter how much money I gave him, and I was giving him money every day, he would just use the money and come back. No matter how much sex I gave him, and I was giving him sex multiple times a day, he would just keep coming back. And I don't want to be with you. You don't want to be with me. You're sleeping with any and everything. I don't want to be with you, but he wouldn't leave me. So no matter how many times I left him, he kept coming back. It didn't matter if I locked him out, he would come in anyways. He had a spare key to my house and he wouldn't give it back. So I was literally stuck with the devil, and the only way to get out was to tell somebody. The whole 3.5 years I was with him, I never told anybody what he was doing to me. I never told anybody the level of abuse I was dealing with. The only people who knew that I had a broken jaw before were people who saw me in person, which was not very many people. So I hid it. But on September 3rd, I finally told my mom, and then my mom got the police involved, and then I went to a DV shelter with my babies. And then almost a week later, I drove out of town, and I have not lived in my hometown since. I visited a handful of times, but it's been 3 years since I lived in my hometown. It's been 3 years since I had an in-person conversation with this man. And before I got with him, I was with my ex-husband, and I wound up having to leave via a DV shelter with him too because he was abusive. So I had only been in 2 relationships in my whole life. I was 29. I'd only been in 2 relationships, and both of them ended in me having to take my kids to a domestic violence shelter. I was in a mental state where I didn't even want to be alive, but I knew I needed to be alive because if I was dead, this man was going to have to raise my kids. So I kept my composure. And I joined, while I was in the shelter, I went to therapy, and I started to talk to one of my family members who is very deep in Christ. She's an apostle. I started talking to her daily so that I could get my mind right, and I pressed deeper into the things that I wanted to do since I was a child. So theater, I went to school for theater, but I stopped doing it because of the relationships I was in. So I pressed into that. Poetry, I pressed into hair, like all the things that I went to school for that I've been doing since I was a kid, but I stopped doing because I was with men that did not know how to treat me right. I pressed into those things. I joined a church. I started going to the Single Mom KC, which I'm still a part of that group now. And I just really cultivated my life in a way that there was nothing but positivity around me. I only listened to gospel music for 2 whole years. Unless I was at work, I can't control the music at work, but outside of that, only gospel music. I'm now at a point where I can listen to music that is not in the gospel genre. As long as I know that it's not affecting my spirit in a negative way, I can still listen to it. But I have definitely allowed myself to be cleaned out. I wrote a book about my life. I get on social media and talk about my life a lot because there are a lot of women who are still living in the mind frame that I overcame. And the fact that it's been 3 whole years that I've been free is crazy because time goes by so fast. My youngest daughter was 2 months old when I moved out here. She's 3 now. My oldest daughter was 3. She's 6 now. And I have a 13-year-old. It's actually my nephew, but I've been taking care of him since I was 18. So I have my nephew as well, and it's crazy how quickly my life has turned around, because I very well could be a drug addict right now. I could be a hoe. I could be out here fighting people all the time. I could be very ugly spirited. But I decided not to do that. I decided to turn my pain into a passion, and I decided to turn my testimony into something that could be miraculous for other people. And I recently got offered a movie deal to turn my book into a movie, and I'm contemplating that right now. I have a lot of different things going on in my life, and I cannot thank anybody but God, because if it was not for him, I would have gave up. I was heavily addicted to weed and alcohol. I was battling with bisexuality. I had a lot of things going on in my life when I moved out here, and I decided to throw all of it away and allow God to renew my mind. And that is something that nobody could ever take from me. I thank God so much for what he did for me, for what he's doing for my children, for what he's doing for the people that I touch. And I'm just happy to see what the rest of 2024 brings. God bless anybody that's watching this, and just know that no matter what you're going through in your life, nothing is stronger than what God has for you. If God told you it's yours, it's already yours. You just got to want it bad enough to go get it, because it's already yours. You got to go get it. And just keep a heart that's pure. Love everybody, especially the Judases. Don't only love the people that love you. Love the people who hate you too, because your love could be exactly what they need to transform their hateful heart into a loving heart. Love everybody. But while you're loving everybody, make sure that you stay true. Don't lie for them. The truth will set you free, and the truth will set other people free as well. But a lie, it suppresses reality. It doesn't change reality, but it suppresses reality, and it takes longer to get to the truth. Just be honest. And if you're interested, Faith, Family, Freedom, The Rosie Experience is my novel, and it's on the Barnes & Noble website. The link is in my bio. God bless you. Have a great and wonderful day.